Hello, my name is Zabi Barnes. I am a seashell mystic, seashell shaman, and seashell alchemy teacher. And I want to share with you today about the power of working with seashell spirals for the purposes of healing and for inner transformation. Seashells are amazing agents for change. And I call my system Seashell Healing because I understand that the word healing means to make whole. So when I say healing, I am not implying that anyone is broken or that anyone needs to be fixed. But we are, each of us, on a journey of becoming more whole with whatever it is that we choose in our life. So some of us are focused on physical healing because maybe we have something going on that is needing some attention. And in that case, we're wanting to become more whole with a healthy body. Some of us are more focused on emotional healing. Maybe we've had some intense emotional upheaval in our lives and we are working to handle those emotions in a more supportive way. And then some of us are looking to become more whole with a focused way of being, maybe to improve our mental mindset, to improve our focus and our clarity about what we most want in our lives. And then some of us are really focused on our spiritual expansion, what some people call the ascension energies. And we are really looking to evolve in consciousness. And what's really cool is that the seashell spirals can help with all of these different types of healing. And what they do is they energetically help us spiral up into higher vibrational frequencies where it is easier for us to become whole with whatever it is that we are wanting to become whole with. Some people might say that what we're doing with the seashell spirals is we're actually working with vortex portals, little tiny vortex portals that can move unwanted energies out and can move desired energies in to the body and into all of the layers of the energy body. So we're talking about a very unique form of energy healing. In my research, I have discovered that shamans have been working with seashell spirals across cultures for many, many centuries. And if you look at cave paintings, you'll see the paintings of the spirals. And it's believed that they were using those images of spirals to access higher dimensions of being, where they could either bring through information or they could bring through healing. Where I live in Arkansas, I live in Hot Springs, Arkansas, which is landlocked. And yet there's an Indian mound in Little Rock, not too far from me, the Toltec Indian mounds, and it was a trading place. It's believed that that was a place of trading and that people came from all over North and South America and they traded. And one of the things that they traded there were seashells. So what were they trading seashells? Why did somebody think that was valuable? Was it just to have a decorative object that they could put in their homes? Probably not. Or was that seashell something that was used in some sort of ritual or ceremony or for a healing purpose? And how did those seashells come to be in Arkansas? They would have had to travel a really far way carrying those shells to get here to this trading center. And maybe they were trading them for fur, or maybe they were trading them for some other practical item. But somebody thought that they were valuable enough to be traded. And I'm talking about big size ones like this, not the little ones that are used for jewelry. See, like I'm wearing seashell earrings and a seashell bracelet. But these were big, large ones that they were trading. And they weren't just the ones that could be used for bowls. Like here's an abalone shell that most likely would have been used as a bowl, maybe by a shamanic culture. But no, these were other types of shells, other shapes that they were trading. So why was that valuable to them? Well, I really believe that they had tapped in to some of the healing and the transformative powers of the seashell spirals. In other cultures, I've seen seashells used in ceremony and in ritual. In India, they use seashells. They have them in their temples. They put them on their altars. They cut off the tip of them and use them as a horn, and they use that as part of their ritual. So the seashells, again, have been very important to the people for spiritual purposes and very likely also for healing purposes. In modern times, I see my fellow shaman friends using seashells where they place them on their altar or they place them on a table when they're teaching a class. Maybe they'll have a vase of flowers and a seashell, and they have it there as part of their class. But what I see is that people are using them randomly. They don't know what the meanings of the different shells are. And this is something that I have been cataloging over the years. I have been playing with seashells since I was very young. They were my favorite thing to play with. I would spend hours gazing into them, looking and wondering what was it like to be inside of the spiral. And over the years, the seashells started coming to me and they started telling me what they did. They would come to me in dream time. And they'd say, I am the spiral for grace. I am the spiral for emotional clearing. I am the spiral for abundance. And the thing is that they did not tell me their scientific name. So that was a lot of the research I did, was that I had to look up the name and really look through seashell books and seashell websites to find what the name of the shell was. And then once I found the correct name, then I would order that shell. So I have a big seashell collection because I like to learn by feeling and touching. And so I would want to hold that shell in my hand and really, really get to know its energy firsthand. And then once I did that, another part of my research was practicing on other people and seeing if what I thought the seashell did really worked. And I brought in a lot of my intuitive friends to help me, to give me really good feedback of, oh yes, that really is working to clear out physical congestion, or oh yes, that really is working to bring in an energy of strength. And so I have cataloged over 180 different seashell spirals. I've been teaching them for several years now, and people have asked me over the years to put them together into a book. And so I have made this book available. It is called Crystals from the Sea, the Definitive Guide to Seashell Healing. And I have made it available as an ebook so that you could get all of the illustrations. And when you look at them on a computer or on a device, they shine, they glow brilliantly. They look so much better than they do on a printed page. So this is why it is available as an ebook. In this video, I want to talk to you a little bit about how to work with the actual shells. So you're going to decide, do you want to work with them randomly and just pick up a shell that you like and work with it, even though you don't really know what its meaning is? Or would you like to have the illustrated seashell guide, the definitive illustrated seashell guide that gives you the meanings of the spirals? So if you're just using your own seashell collection and you want to do it randomly, that's fine. That's about surrendering to the mystery, and you don't know what the shell does, but you're going to play with it and you're going to just see what happens when you play with it. And then for those of you who would like to have a more focused, targeted way of working with the seashells, you can look through this definitive guide and you can choose a seashell that really represents an energy that you are wanting to become whole with. And you can work with that particular seashell. So now in this video, I'm going to show you one of my favorite shells to work with. It's the one that I start most people out with. And it's one that I'm sure you're very familiar with already. So it is the abalone shell. And we know that this was used in shamanic ritual because we see people using this for smudging. They put their sage stick and they use it and they hold the ashes in an abalone shell. So they were using the abalone shell to help with clearing. In my Seashell Healing system, the abalone shell gives permission to heal. It unlocks the permission for the healing process to begin. So it is the first shell that I start with because it makes any other additional healing energy that we call in work that much better. It works well with every other seashell spiral. Now there are many different types of abalone shell. I'm showing you one that is very common that we see a lot in North America. So this is the inside of it, and it is not a clamshell. A lot of people think that this is a clamshell. It's not. It's actually like a squashed flat snail. See, it spirals around. Can you see the spiral? It's kind of hard to see, but it's there. You can maybe see it a little bit better on the inside. There you see the spiral. So it really is a snail. And so it's about unlocking permission to heal. Whenever we want to heal something, we either want to let go of something that is not serving us, let go of an old energy or something in the body that doesn't belong there, or we're wanting to bring in a new energy or more of an energy that we already have. So we're wanting to bring something in, that's healing. Or sometimes we're wanting to shift things around, like you go to a chiropractor to shift your skeleton. Well, sometimes we want to shift energies in our body, and that can be a form of healing. Or sometimes we just want an upgrade, an energetic upgrade where we want everything brought to a new level. The seashell spirals work for all of this. And remember, we're working with little spiral vortex portals that can bring energies in and can take unwanted energies out. So the problem is when you're working randomly with the shell and you don't know what that shell does, then you may be clearing out something that you don't want to clear out, or you may be bringing in something that is not what you need. And so that's why I like having the explanations of what each one does, because then I know specifically this is the seashell spiral that I most need today. And what I need today might not be what I need tomorrow. So it's about consciously choosing which energy do I want to become whole with today. I told you at the beginning of the recording that I am a seashell shaman. I have studied shamanism from many different traditions for almost 20 years now. And in fact, I have taught it to people around the world. And what shamanism has in common in all of its different cultural variations is that it is a blending of spirit and earth. So it's a little different from New Age healing methods, because in the New Age methods, it's all about spirit and expansion. But what the shamans understood was that you can't have that kind of expansion without also bringing the energies down through all of the layers of the aura into the physical material plane. So they were masters at blending earth and spirit. And the seashell spirals work really well for blending earth and spirit. There are times that we want to really expand in our consciousness. And so at those times, the seashell spirals can help create a vortex portal that expands us out and around and out and around and out and around. And depending on how energetically advanced we are, we may be able to really expand at a cosmic level. And then the other thing that the seashell spirals can do is they can bring us really deep into ourselves. They can bring us really deep into the cells of our body, into the subatomic space of our bodies, and can work through our DNA to create desired change that is long lasting. So that's a little bit more of an advanced teaching, but working with the actual shells is a way to start that process. So let me show you two different ways to work with seashells. So we're going to use the abalone since I just talked about it. We'll use that one as an example. So with the seashell, it has a point. Here's the point of this one. It's a kind of shallow point, but it has a little point right there. And then it has an opening. So let me show you on another shell just so you understand what I'm saying. Here's one. This one has a point and it has an opening. Here's one. It has a point and it has an opening. And so there are two different ways that you can face your seashell. Now, if you're going to use it for healing, you might want to put it somewhere on the body. So remember, this one is the one that gives permission to heal. So you're going to put it on your body. And there are times that you're going to really need to bring more energy into the physical for the healing to happen. So then you're going to take that shell and you're going to put it face down so that the opening is facing you and the point is facing away. And then you're just going to hang out there. Or what the shamans understand is that not every ailment is physical in its origin. Sometimes it's more of a spiritual condition that needs to be healed. And if it's that case, then you're going to take the seashell and you're going to point the opening away from your body. And then another part of this is that you may want to play around with where the point is facing. You may want to move that shell different angles till you find the sweet spot. Oh, right there, where it feels like the most energy is coming through. Or if you're not a feeler of energy, maybe you just happen to like it that way, and you don't even have to have a reason why you like it that way. You just do. So always go with what you like the best. The same is true for where you're going to place that seashell. Maybe you want to work at the top of your head for your connection with spirit. Maybe you want to place it over your root chakra to help heal more the connection that you have with the earth plane. So for the purpose of this video, I'm encouraging you to experiment, to play, to find out what happens if I face it this way. What happens if I flip it over? What happens if I put the point to the diagonal? And always go with what you like the best. And always go with what you think is the strongest energy, because that's the way that it's going to make the most impact for you. So now I want to make a very important distinction for you about the work that I have put together about the cataloging of the seashell spirals. There are a couple of other people out there who are also working with seashells for healing, and what they're doing is very different from what I'm doing, because they're tapping in to the consciousness of the animal that created that seashell spiral. So they're really doing more like a kind of like power animal work. And then they're ascribing the meanings to those shells based on the personality of that animal and the behavior of that animal. That is not what this system is about. This system is a system of sacred geometry. We are talking about spirals of creation, which are how we move through life. the Mayans said that we live in a spiral timeline and that we're moving up and around, up and around, up and around, up and around. And what happens is sometimes our spiral timeline gets tangled, it gets twisted, and we start backtracking and we start taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back, and things are not working out the way that we're intending, and it's like we're stuck. We're at cross purposes with ourselves, and that's because our energy spirals that move within our bodies, that are how we move through life, get tangled up. And so with the sacred geometry of these spirals, we can get our spirals, our inner energy spirals, untangled. We are tapping into the higher consciousness of the vibrational frequencies, which would be numeric energetic frequencies. Each spiral represents a numeric energetic frequency, and we're tapping into that vibration. We're talking about vibration. We're not talking about the animal consciousness. So it's a different thing. The spirals existed before those animals decided to build their shells in that shape. So these spirals came first, and then the creatures came second. So we are going straight to the source with the definitions of the highest expression of the spirals. As far as I know, it is the most comprehensive treatment of seashell spirals. I've seen other people with books where they talk about just a few, or one woman who has a book that's really talking about the power animal. But again, this is the biggest collection of seashell spirals that I have seen cataloged, and there's almost 200 of them in this book. So now the last thing that I want to talk about in this webinar is how to use seashell spirals for meditative tools. They are wonderful for expanding consciousness, and the way you can work with the actual shells as a meditative tool is to softly gaze into the opening of the shell. Now, I like to put the point facing up, and then you're going to softly gaze into that opening. And you're going to imagine yourself going into the spiral, ascending up the spiral staircase that leads to the very tip of that seashell from the inside. And you're going to imagine yourself inside, sitting inside at that very tip of the spiral. So of course you have to imagine yourself shrinking down, like you shrink yourself down to be about that big, and then you can go inside in your imagination, in your mind's eye. And you can ask for the wisdom of that spiral to enter your consciousness. Ask to merge with the wisdom of that spiral. And it's a very peaceful experience. And again, having the guidebook really helps, because maybe you're really working on forgiveness in your life. That's a big energy, that you're understanding that it's causing you a lot of suffering because you have a hard time forgiving people. And so you could work with the spiral for forgiveness, that particular spiral. And then you would gaze into its opening and imagine going inside of it and sitting up at the top of that spiral and asking for guidance with forgiveness, with the energy of forgiveness. And you can do that with any of the seashells in this definitive seashell guide. All you have to do is have the actual shell. And you can order the actual shells online. I order mine from Richard's Seashells, and also from Deltona Seashells, and from Caribbean Seashells. So you may have to hunt around a little bit to find the shells that you want. You can also look on eBay and Etsy, but sometimes those are misnamed. And so just be careful with that and compare them to the images in my ebook, and then you'll know that you have the right shell or not. So right now, what I want to do is I want to keep going with what we were just doing. And then once you've used a seashell as a meditative tool, then you might want to place it somewhere in your home as a reminder of that energy. And so even in placing the seashells around in your home, you want to consider, do you want to bring energy from spirit in, or do you want to bring energy from earth in? And if you want to bring the energy of spirit in, you're going to put the seashell facing so that the opening is showing. And if you're going to want to bring more of the earth energy in, more of the groundedness, more of the manifestation into the physical material plane, you're going to place it face down. So, do you want to place it just even now with me? Tune in. Which one do you like better? When I hold this open like this, or when I put it down to the earth like this? The energy shifts. Notice it again. Up to spirit, notice that energy. This is about energy. We're talking about energy. The vortex portal, bringing the energy. Where is it going to bring it? Is it going to bring it into your spiritual awareness? Or is it going to bring the energy more into your physical plane reality? And those of you who are sensitive to energies are noticing that there really is a difference there, whether I hold the shell this way or this way. And those of you who are really sensitive to energy might be feeling a little dizzy, and you might feel the world shifting up and down as I play with that. So, I want to thank you for your interest in Seashell Healing. I want to thank you for taking this time today to learn about a new healing technique, or to go deeper in something that maybe you're already playing with a little bit. It's all about spiraling up. It's about expanding our spirals. It's about going deeper and deeper, spiraling deeper and deeper within, and ultimately spiraling into your soul. The seashells connect us with our soul. The seashells bring through the sacred feminine energy. It's very much a feminine energy working with the seashells. Crystals are much more of a masculine energy, and that's the masculine approach to healing. The seashells bring the feminine. It's a magnetic energy. It's pulling to you what you need. It's repelling from you what you do not need. That's how the seashells work. So I hope that you will want to learn more, and that you will sign up to receive the definitive guide to Seashell Healing, Crystals from the Sea, which is available by clicking the button below. And until next time, keep spiraling up.